Hello everyone. We are going to continue learning more about chapter 6 in this video from page 23 of your notes. Basically, we are talking about the low level, high level, and then we have the coded values for them. So I want to go through a little more about these things. Let me share my screen. Stop here. We talked about this slide, but I'm going to talk about it again. So we are two-level factorials. There's no fractional here yet. In chapter 7, we are going to talk about the fractional factorial. So what's happening here is that we had an example. Our example had 3 different factors, and each factor had like 2 levels. So temperature, RPM like rate, and then the catalyst type. And then we had like, when we wanted to write it down, it would be 2 power 3. So it means that when we have full factorial, we would have 2 power 3, which is 8 runs. And then generally we said that whenever we have like low level, we are gonna have like -1. When we have high level, we would have +1. You can see that, see what are the like each runs. How come we call these ones like the, here is the original notation, here is the positive negative notation. And then we can make for each of our runs, we can have a combination. Like this is another way of showing that. So when we are talking about the combination, the thing happens is that whenever you see a letter, it means that that letter for that factor is like, it's going to work on the high level, like the operating condition. And if you don't see any letter for that one, like for example, in that case, in a low level. So look at here, we have, for example, BC. So BC means that our second factor, like B, and the third factor, C, they are on the high level, but factor A is going to be on the low level. And then, so each of these runs, instead of writing down, like, for example, 100, 500A for run 1, we can simply just have represented by one number, which is 1. Or for example, instead of run number 7, instead of writing down 200, 1500 and catalyst, we can write down like AB, because it's going to be like A, right? It's high level, and then high level here again, and then we would have the catalyst on the low level. So we can show it by AB. Make sure that you're going to work on the, like you would have a cubic, and you're going to work on that one as well, because we would have the, then we want it like in the cubic that we would have. It's very good that for each corner, you could simply say that what that corner represents of. Like for example, if I have, let me, okay. So look at here, if I have something like this, when you have something like this, it means that they have 3 factors because we have 3 dimensions. So it means that we would have 3 factors, and we have low and high. So it's like that each of these ones, they have like 2 sides. It means that we have 2 levels for it. The simple one. So I would have like, let's say this is A, this is B, this is C. So this one represents factor A, factor B, and factor C. So if I ask you what this corner represents of, quickly you should able to say that, practice that. So we would have a quiz, and probably in your quiz, I'm going to ask you questions like this. Because it's going to help us a lot later when we want to calculate the effects. Even if you wanted to work on a little like more advanced than this one, and you would go to with the nested design, you will see that when we have more than like 3 factors, what's gonna happen is that we would have like 2 cubic, like we would have 2 cubic like this, representing from one operating condition. So that's not what I'm gonna cover right now. What we're gonna talk right now is that we should be able to say what are all of these corners represent of. Like for example, and then this is my center, like not the center, the origin. And I would say here everything is at low level, so it represents 1. And then, for example, when I go here, I would say, okay, so here, but when you want to visualize it, you can move this one on this, like just shift it to this, and you would have like A would be this way, C is going to be this way, and B is going to be this way. So here, if I ask you what's going to be, we worked on that last week. So you would have A on the high level, and B and C is going to be on the low level. So what I'm going to write down, I would write down like in parentheses, A. So if I go here, you would say, okay, A is in the high level, C is in the high level as well, but B is in the low level. So what I'm going to write down is I'm going to write down A and C for here. So when you see A and C, you have B in your operating condition, like in your run, but B is in the low level. Okay, so let's go back. This was just a review from last week. So let's go back to our note.